Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to round 7 of season 3 of our F125 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Austrian Grand Prix, but on the reverse layout. Yes, we've done obviously both layouts inside F125 a few times now, and the reverse one seems to actually give better racing inside this game. So yeah, we're just going to obviously be running the one double header this season. That will follow this weekend at the British Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Montreal, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We got our fourth podium of the year, our second runner-up finish after a late race battle with Max Verstappen once again went the way of the Dutchman. 5 wins from the opening 6 Grand Prix. He's got a 61-point buffer up at the top of the table, but so far Charles Leclerc and I have probably been his closest competitor. Leclerc, every single race he's finished, has finished in P3. He's finished on the podium. It is only myself and Leclerc that have finished P3 this year. Lando Norris is currently on a 5-race P4 streak, which actually breaks the record for most consecutive finishes in one position that isn't the win in Formula 1 as well. So there's quite a lot of intrigue going on this season, but some of it has been a little bit predictable so far during this campaign. Of course, if you're new around here, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel. We are trying to hit 150,000 subs at the moment. Also, if you want early access to all of these videos, consider clicking the join button below. It costs just £1 a month. You get early access to all the content available on the channel. But yeah, without further ado then, let's return here to the reverse Austrian Grand Prix. This one, I'm hoping, is going to be a good one.
High up in the mountains here at Spielberg, it's time for qualifying on what will be the fastest laps of the season. Stand by for qualifying at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Well, as we head into qualifying then here for the reverse Austrian Grand Prix, I'm sure there is one question we are asking more than any other. With these cars now nearly maxed out inside F125, how close can we get to a sub 60-second lap time here at Austria? Definitely not with lines like that through turn 1. It's going to probably ruin my first run here of the session. But yeah, normally we've been comfortably a good couple of seconds faster than some of our back markers, so hopefully we'll still get a lap time that gets us into Q2. Well, so far then, this first lap, apart from that mistake down at the first corner, has been fairly clean and tidy, so even if this doesn't give us a good reference point later on, hopefully we'll see us straight out of Q1 to 103.0 there. We go slower than Pierre Gasly in the Williams, but I think we should be safely through nonetheless. Well, there we go then. Carlos Sainz fastest at the end of Q1. They're on a 102.0, so I reckon we could see lap times at low 101s by the end of the session, maybe even 1 minute flat. But finding an extra 2 seconds over the time the Spaniard's been able to do, I think that's going to be rather difficult. We do make it through, though, into Q2 fairly comfortably. Alexander Albon, though, only a 10th clear of Jack Doohan. It is both Alpines, both V-Carbs, and both Audis out in Q1 this weekend. We haven't seen that happen too many times this year. But we're definitely going to have to start pulling out all my best tricks in the book here if we want to try and get down into those 101s in Q2 then. Of course, first and foremost, we need to make sure we get a nice, clean, tidy lap time. We're trying to use some battery on the run towards the start-finish line. Obviously, this turn 1 now really, really awkward, but so satisfying when you do get it nailed. Turn 2 there really attack the curbing as well.
We're right on the cusp now. We've been pushed down to P11.
I mean, where it is such a short lap, though, here, we can use battery around a huge majority of the circuit there. It's getting a little bit of a wobble through turn 3 and turn 4. That really open up the circuit, though, on the exit. Like I said, it is a really, really good fun track to drive on this game, especially now I've figured out this corner. Definitely still leaving a little bit of time on the table. You can see when you use all the grip available from these tyres, there is a lot of speed in the wagon. Braking just at the white line. They're up at the top of the hill as Oscar Piastri almost down into the 101s, but purple through that first sector for us. Still trying to drain battery. 1.6 seconds up on the provisional time of Lance Stroll. So we're going to be very, very close to the Australians' time there. Send it through the final corner. Get on that battery as early as we can on the run back round towards the flag. 101.9. Oh, this thing is flying along. We are getting so, so close. And There we go then. I believe for the first time ever inside this series, both Cadillacs make it through into Q3. Goes to show just how much, we've been developing this car and have built up a lot of speed in it. Yuki Tsunoda, therefore, out in Q2. But Pierre Gasly, I mean, hats off to him. Less than 1/40th of a second behind George Russell come the end of that second run. Mercedes look very, very racy here, but as always, I expect Verstappen to get very, very quick as we head into Q3. Just how low can the bar go? We're heading back out onto the circuit then, ready for my final lap of anger here, and we need every last thousandth of a second if we want to try and put this car on pole position. I got a Mercedes car coming up behind me here who is just trying to finish off their run, so what I'm going to try and do is let them through and then try and claim the DRS. No, they're diving back into the pit lane. Okay, that's a little bit of a shame then that we can't do anything with that. Let's try and go for it then. Get on that throttle as early as we can out of the final corner. Carry the speed back down towards the start-finish line, nudging the grass on the way in. Hopefully that isn't going to affect the balance of the car too badly. I know there is pace in it. In fact, I believe still our Q2 time, the quickest we've seen anybody do so far in this session. And luckily we are pretty much matching my split by the end of Sector 1 there. Verstappen, 101.6 now. That is a ridiculous lap time. It's Pierre Gasly. Clearly something's happened to the Williams man. Has forced him to drop out right towards the end of the session. But I'm hoping as the lap ramps up there, we are going to find a little bit more time. 4 tenths up by the time we get up towards the top of the circuit. We've still got to try and find a little bit more. Braking ever so slightly later. Get the car hooked up on that curbing and then try and utilise the track width on the exit as we make our way back down the hill. Half a second up, but at the moment, this would not be good enough to beat Max Verstappen. We need full send at this final corner there. Third gear, a little bit of a wobble as we try and get the power down off the exit of the corner. 6 tenths of a second up. Will it be enough? P3 on the grid. Gutted. Well, there we are, half a tenth away from pole position here, and we will only line up on the second row. Max Verstappen will claim P1 on a 101.608, and I reckon, yeah, if you get those last few upgrades on this Cadillac, a 1 minute flat. Definitely possible around here. Lando Norris in P4 just ahead of George Russell, with Ocon ahead of Gasly. Leclerc, he'll be disappointed down in P7 just ahead of Piastri and Alexander Albon. I'm just hoping that both Cadillacs can score points today, and maybe we can try and take a few more out of McLaren.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hadja, Norris, George Russell and Ocon, Gasly, Piastri, Albon and Franco Colapinto, Tsunoda, Lawson, Jack Crawford and Stroll, Antonelli, Aaron, Charles Leclerc and Zach O'Sullivan, Bortoletto, Hulkenberg, Behrman and Jack Doohan rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Well, more than 10 years on then from that Toro Rosso lineup of Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen. They might have gone their separate ways in this sport, but they find themselves locking out the front row. 36 laps ahead of us though, here for the Austrian Reverse GP. I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping we can have a nice, clean, tidy race. We're going to try and go a little bit aggressive on fuel again. It worked for us last time out in Montreal. Hopefully it can work for us today as well then. Let's see what happens though, ready at the start of the race. As the 5 red lights come on here in the Styrian Hills. And when the 5 red lights are out, the hills are going to be alive with the sound of Formula 1 cars there as immediately Lando Norris trying to get a good start to make it 3 wide in towards turn 1 and down the middle. Will go the Ferrari man there, gets around the outside of Carlos Sainz. We will try and follow him by there as we hook it up around the outside of the McLaren as well then. So we haven't gained any, haven't lost any of the start. Apparently we have contacts with Carlos there, but I don't remember feeling anything through the steering wheel, so not going to worry too much about that one then. At the start of this race is Verstappen immediately trying to build up a 1 second buffer there, of course, and get himself out of the DRS range. Ferrari, they looked so strong in Montreal last weekend. We've seen it every single season so far. of this My Team career mode. Ferrari don't start the year strong, kind of come back fighting and end up being in the World Championship hunt, but we have never seen a driver, at least inside this career mode, as dominant as Max Verstappen has been so far this year as well, as already Lando Norris 1.5 seconds back from the Dutchman by the time we get towards the end of lap 1. Everybody, though, just trying to settle down and ease into a rhythm early in the race, but Verstappen is flying. Well, always one of the big debates around this circuit as well inside F125 is whether you're going to one-stop or two-stop it. I think as the cars have got quicker, but also obviously they develop, they are a bit better on their tyres as well. So I'd be surprised if we're going to see too many two-stoppers.
1 minute, 11.8. Less than a second separates you. They're on fresh mediums. We think they've got one more stop.
Yeah, there you go. So Lando Norris definitely one-stopping. I would assume Verstappen is doing the same. But he is really trying to build up a gap early on. I mean, this is a race he wants to win, I'm sure, more than most this year. We've seen him dominate around the Styrian Hills before. So I think if I was a betting man, my money would probably be on the Dutchman this afternoon. Oh, we've got yellows, we've got yellows. I think that's already Leclerc then having a bit of a moment in this Grand Prix. We got a safety car just after I go past pit lane entry.
Keep it positive to avoid a penalty. Slow down, maintain positive delta. With the safety car out, this is a good opportunity to pit. We'll be a bit longer than planned on the next tyres, but we can make it work. Just remember, we'll probably lose track position.
Well, Charles Leclerc then has been disqualified in this Grand Prix, as I believe it was Esteban Ocon and George Russell that were both able to get into the pit lane then. I definitely want to be pitting at the end of this lap. It's worth it against the relative time loss, even if we've got to try and fight our way back through cars later on. But will we see any other drivers go for it? Well, this is the problem with just how awkwardly timed this safety car was, of course. It meant that everybody else behind has been able to pit and is now catching back up to the front runners. Meanwhile, of course, obviously everybody at the front is going to have to try and call it in. Lando Norris opts to stay out there. So I think we've made the right choice because we haven't done the same thing as Ferrari in this race. We've got to really try and get up to Verstappen on the way in there, and maybe, just maybe, we can get the jump on him in the pit lane. It is just myself and the Dutchman trying to go for it, though. So this is a big, big gamble in this GP. Can we potentially get the jump in pit lane? Come on, go, go, go. No. Damn it.
Turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. You only have to stop once now. One stop left.
Right up the Dutchman's gearbox then as we make our way out of the pit box. As we just try and keep it inside track limits. We resume back out in 15th and 16th place. Well, this hasn't been a particularly long safety car period here in the Styrian Hills, but it is going to be Lando Norris then that is going to lead the way as we get ready to go green flag racing once again. I wonder if Verstappen's going to be pitting once more or twice more in this race.
Okay, the gap is less than a second. Okay, they're on fresh hards. We think they've got one more stop.
That's alright then, so at least we know that Verstappen is definitely going to be pitting again then before the end of this GP. But as we go green flag racing once more, looks like Lando Norris on the minimap has done a pretty good job getting the jump on everybody. But yeah, very, very quickly this is going to become tricky between Verstappen and I. We are both much, much quicker than all of the cars around us. But can we try and get the jump on the Dutchman so we can kind of be the trailblazer back up through the rest of the pack? He's actually being rather measured at the moment. I think just more interested in defending against me than trying to make any moves there. But round the outside of Verstappen will go. As patient as he wants to be, I don't fancy it. Down the inside of Jack Doohan as well. At the very next corner, we might invite the Dutchman to have a look past him as well. I mean, yeah, we've got to try and make an impact nice and early there as they're almost 3 wide just up in front as we get towards the top of the hill. Down the inside of the Audi of Gabriel Bortoletto there, and you can still see Russell Behrman and Paul Aaron 3 wide just in front of me. They all kind of sort themselves out as we make our way down towards the final corner. As there goes the V-carb, trying to look around the outside of the Mercedes in towards the final corner as well. Then can we just time the run out of the final corner? We're going to immediately be able to try and get a run back past Ollie Behrman in towards turn 1. Aaron and Russell still side by side as Paul Aaron there will be forced to back out of it by the time we get into that first corner. And one person that this has all really benefited, Esteban Ocon, the second Red Bull man, always in Verstappen's shadow, but he is effectively now in the net lead of this race. Here we go, George Russell in, ran the outside of Zach O'Sullivan down in towards that final corner. So Russell making light work of yet another V-carb car here at the moment. And we just got to try and follow the Mercedes man through, as O'Sullivan, of course, will keep that DRS on the run back in towards the first corner to the inside. A big brave manoeuvre there into a corner that is quite tricky to get the overtaking done. But Ocon, yeah, is really not making the progress he would have wanted right now. Now about a second ahead of George Russell again. So what was about a 3-second margin just a lap ago, he's already struggling with. Well, let's not forget then, if we all still have to pit again by the end of the race, Lando Norris has got a pretty healthy buffer. I know his tyres are beginning to hit the cliff, but he's doing pretty well and has built up a nice healthy lead once again. There's Colapinto there losing a spot to Esteban Ocon. So yeah, the Argentine slowly slipping back through. Losing some spots to some slightly quicker cars as we thought about it on George Russell out of that first corner. Not able to go for it. So we've got yellows out. We've got a roadblock. Have we? I think we've just got a couple of cars that have gone off, and it might be another safety car. It's a red flag.
Red flag.
And now we're in big trouble.
And let's have you straight to the pit lane, please.
We are in massive trouble now because, of course, all the AR will be able to switch to hards, and we haven't got another set. Disaster. Both Red Bulls, myself, George Russell now in real trouble in this GP. And the team wants to go double soft.
Change our strategy for the rest of the Grand Prix if we want to.
Do we think we can do 10 laps on a set of soft compound tyres each? I think we probably should. So we're going to see how well the first set lasts, and then whether we can get the second set to the end of the race. But look at that. Everybody around me on the hard compound. It's 5 red lights. It's lights out, and away we go then. And I've got no idea how Russell has got another set of the hard compound tyre, unless he's gone on his worn-in set. There's already chaos in towards that first corner. Everybody around me just having a bit of a battle, so we will go nice and tidy on the way in and try and get down the inside of a few cars on the way out. There's contact with Albon. Oh, this race just goes from bad to worse, man. So much bad luck so early on, as we will try and stay down the inside of Esteban Ocon there, give him a big squeeze through the exit of the corner.
New race strategy on your MFD if you want to go and check it out.
Oh man, I don't even know how much wing I was running. There we go. We don't want to change the wing angle, but we are definitely going to have to pit for a new wing at some point in the next couple of laps, unless by some miracle we could stay in the DRS. But the amount of Constantine running up there off that restart has been utterly ridiculous. And well, unless we get yet another safety car or something late on in the day here, I think we might be in real trouble. Luckily, of course, we've still got a huge tyre offset against Alex Albon at the moment, so even if we could just stretch these tyres out to kind of lap 21, we could go back to mediums and take them through to the end of the GP. But this race was going so well so early on. I have never known so much bad luck when it comes to strategy inside F1 25. Get back on the road. Russell will be able to squeeze by as we end up doing some rallycross up towards the top of the hill once again. And normally, yeah, we're already out of the DRS range of the Mercedes man. So, like I said, I think we're going to have to try and bolt on a set of mediums and take those to the end of the afternoon. But we are just holding up cars at the moment then. There's Esteban Ocon now trying to look around the outside.
Make a mistake.
We're going to try and keep it down the inside there. There is still more grip in the car, which is how much downforce we've got at the moment is what we're really struggling with. All I can try and do is hold up Ocon and Verstappen. I mean, how on earth has Verstappen got another set of hard tyres? Are we on a softer compound strategy inside this game? I didn't think we were. There we go this time around. It's Verstappen now trying to look around the outside up at the top of the circuit. Again, well, we will not let the Red Bull through without a fight. Even if it just means we get a different winner this season. There's Carlos Sainz now, and I believe Lando Norris. Whoa, no! Up at the front of the order! As I've given Verstappen a huge squeeze, more than I realised. As we've come back onto the road, Esteban Ocon's gone. And, well, no idea what happened there, as Verstappen and I will both have to peel into the pit lane. Safety car's been called.
Form up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive.
Well, according to the team then, we did have another set of the hard compound tyres, so why on earth they weren't giving us that option on the restart, I've got no idea, but I guess that does mean our race is saved a little bit then. Huge damage though on the side pods of the car now as we get a new front wing on, but one Red Bull gone, another one into the pit lane as well, and now down in last place.
Stop, faster than we were expecting.
This race is carnage, utter carnage. Well, as we get ready to go green flag racing once again then, heading into this race, I thought we might be able to take points out of McLaren. It now looks like McLaren might be on for their second victory of the campaign, as Carlos Sainz are about to get us green flag racing once more. But for Verstappen and I now at the rear of the field, we've got slightly fresher tyres than everybody else. This is now a race of damage limitation there, as trying to get the power down out of the final corner. I'm sure if the Dutchman gets an opportunity to try and dive bomb me, he's probably going to take it. He will be absolutely furious with the way this race has gone so far, as we will get down the inside of Ollie Behrman immediately at turn 2 and try and put a car between myself and the Dutchman there. I mean, he's not going to be waiting around though for too long in this race, as well, at least we've got some grip again. The car's not perfect, it is still a little bit damaged here. So you can see Hulkenberg in that Audi making a little bit of a mistake just up in front. Yeah, the Haas car of Jack Crawford then next up on the old hit list. Of course, our main American rival.
Critically damaged.
The American driver in the American car. Is he going to be able to keep defensive up at the top of the hill? Yes, he will. So not only were we trying to look around him there, but we end up going 3 wide with him and Hulkenberg's Audi. And around the outside we will go then. And up into P16. Here we go then. Both Aston Martin Hondas next up on the old hit list, as Lance Stroll going to try and throw off a little bit of a defence. Of course, yeah, Aston Martin not seeing the same success they've had over in my driver career mode inside F125. Probably because, yeah, rather than Alonso and I, they've got Stroll and Lawson inside this series there. Down the inside, though, of Liam we will go. And we move up then into P14. We're getting a nice run off the top of the hill then, to the inside of Jack Doohan will go. And I must admit, I do really like that Alpine livery inside this game. But, you know, I mean, for Audi and VCARB today, there is a huge opportunity to try and score points. Nico Hulkenberg running up in that 10th place. That would be critical for them if they could get a point on the board today. Of course, I'm hoping to try and deny that pretty soon. Sorry, no, it's Bortoletto, isn't it? That's running up in that final points paying position, as Andrea Kimi Antonelli in his Haas car trying to go defensive. No real point going to the inside through there, as yeah, both VCARB and Audi with a car currently inside the top 10. Paul Aaron versus Gabriel Bortoletto. So we might leave them to kind of scrap for it just behind us, as yeah, we have made decent progress again off of this restart. Obviously on those fresher tyres against some much slower cars than our own. Verstappen, though, has been a little bit more stuck. Only has moved his way past Ollie Behrman so far. And yeah, for our World Championship leader, everybody knows it's a huge opportunity to try and close back in some points against him. But at least he knows his closest rival is in the wars as well today. Bortoletto to the outside of Aaron. By the time we get down at that final corner, can we try and get the switch on the pair of them? We will certainly get to the inside of Paul Aaron, and we will get to the inside of Bortoletto as well. Hopefully we can clear him in towards that first corner and back up then into the points in this race. Here we go, George Russell then, thinking about a move on Alexander Albon. Of course, 2 former Williams drivers chasing down 2 current Williams drivers at this late stage of the day. But are we going to see either of them able to make a move on those cars in front? Gasly and Colapinto are kind of trying to work together here to hold everybody else back a little bit more, as McLaren, I said, they are the team that has shone today inside this GP. I mean, Tsunoda, he's gone from like 12th, or I think it was 11th on the grid in the end, wasn't it? All the way to P2 here, and might still be able to chase down his teammate before the checkered flag. For Carlos Sainz, though, I mean, that strategy not to pit under safety car, not in a million years should that have worked, but clearly saw the vision. So we just run into the back of Russell up at the top of the hill. Maybe have given him a little bit of diffuser damage, as he's going to try and look for a run on Alexander Albon down towards that final corner. Albon absolutely not giving him an inch there. Let's have a look around the outside. So we are really pushing these tyres towards the end of the stint. Albon again having to try and defend from the Mercedes. Doesn't put up much of a fight that time round, but will swoop all the way around the outside down at turn 1. We're picking up even more front wing damage later in the day. Oh, this race just has not gone our way. Oh, attentions now, rather than trying to fight our way through these guys, is basically just turned to try and stick with them towards the end of the afternoon. But I tell you what, there is no love loss between Alexander Albon and George Russell right now. These two really going for it late on in the day, as Russell now tries to get a run around the outside of our teammate there and will make it happen. Can we get a run on Alexander Albon back down in towards turn 1? No, we can't. In fact, he's going to have a look to the inside of George Russell again then, who really gets the elbows out. Cadillac now, we haven't had many battles with our teammate so far this year, and as we go off the circuit there to make the move happen, come on, don't lose the range to George. But immediately then, I've gone and failed that task of trying to stay in the range of George Russell, and now Albon and I, looks like we're going to be having a battle between ourselves for P8 and P9 towards the end of this race. There goes Albon down the inside. He's not really the driver I should be fighting at this stage, as he actually cuts turn 1 to make the move happen. Might try and go back in hot pursuit of George, but I think, yeah, we've kind of tripped over each other here and really cost us. Further behind Bortoletto, he has now got the 1 second gap over Paul Aaron. That is critical for Audi. One more lap to go then, and I must admit, coming into this weekend, I really thought there was going to be an opportunity to try and compete for the victory, and well, it looked like that was going to be the case early on, but for McLaren this afternoon, everything has kind of fallen into place for them. Kind of similar to 2021, despite the fact it was Mercedes and Red Bull dominating, it was only McLaren that bagged a 1-2 finish that season, and despite the fact, once again, Red Bull have dominated this season so far, courtesy of Max Verstappen, it looks like McLaren are going to bag a 1-2 today. Carlos Sainz, a little bit lucky, but nailed the strategy and has controlled this one. But Yuki Tsunoda, a brilliant fight all the way through the field. We've seen it, though, before inside these F1 games, that points, a single point can make the difference come the end of a World Championship. So are we going to be able to try and have a look past our teammate Alex Albon before the end of the race? Not with lines like that, as we pick up a warning for track limits. Just about avoid going in the gravel trap. Carlos Sainz, he is going to claim victory here in Spielberg and will win the Austrian reverse GP this time out. Yuki Tsunoda will follow him home for P2. Cadillac, it's our first real battle with our teammate all year long. He's going to get the better of us, though. It is only P9.
All the signs were there that it was going to be his day, and what a day it was. Carlos Sainz wins.
To overcome the difficult circumstances they face throughout this race today, Crofty, it's not easy, and it really shows a lot of maturity, and you can use this, you can draw on this as a driver moving forward and boost your confidence through the rest of the championship.
What a day it's been for Formula One, and what a day it's been for these three drivers. Time for the podium celebrations. Time for our drivers to celebrate. But there can only be one winner, and that winner today is Carlos Sainz. The top step awaits.
Well, there we are then. Carlos Sainz and Yuki Tsunoda. What a day for celebration for those two. 2nd and 11th on the grid. 1 and 2 come the checkered flag, and ultimately that is all that matters there. Lando Norris in 3rd beats out both Williams, both Mercedes, both Cadillacs, and an Audi. Finally scoring points this year. Gabriel Bortoletto, a brilliant drive from the young Brazilian to finish in P10 there. Paul Aaron narrowly misses out for V-Carb on what would have been a great result, of course, with Red Bull's home GP. But yeah, you see Ollie Behrman, Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, and Charles Leclerc all failing to see the checkered flag. Plenty of drama this weekend here in the Styrian Hills. What does that do to our championship standings? Well, it means Verstappen now, his gap at the top cut down to 50 points, as Lando Norris and Tsunoda jump myself there back up into 2nd and 3rd respectively. We are down to 4th, just still ahead of Leclerc, and then a big gap back to George Russell, still ahead of Ocon, Gasly, Sainz and Oscar Piastri. Alex Albon though up to P12 overall, so finally starting to build a little bit of momentum in the 2nd car as well. Constructors wise, Red Bull now 10 ahead of Ferrari. McLaren though a huge leap forward closer to our top 2 teams. Cadillac, we are still 16 ahead of Mercedes after a bit of a tough race today, but it could have been a whole lot worse there. Haas ahead of Aston Martin. Alpine now tied with Audi as well, and VCarb the only team to get off of the starting blocks. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for, I believe, the normal British Grand Prix.